welcome back to my channel. Today our video is gonna be about learning Korean language, which is Hangul, because I've been studying Hangul since like last year because of the pandemic, and I was so into K-dramas. And when I was watching the K-drama, I was like, okay, not just because I like K-drama or anything like that, I want to learn the language also. So I started kind of like picking up some words, and then little by little I'll like understand small phrase that they use in the K-drama. And then now today, since I was like talking in Korean language the other day in my Instagram story, I had lots of like comments and messages saying, why don't you do like a lesson version of Korean, English, and Japanese? So that's what I'm gonna do today, and let's get started with the Korean language. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna challenge with the greetings version. That's called aisatsu in Japanese. So we're gonna do the greetings from top. So first, when you greet with people, of course what you say is good morning and good evening, and sometimes occasionally good night or like more late in the evening. So first what I have is how to say hello, which is annyeonghaseyo. So I think it's like when you say hi or good evening or hello to somebody, you say annyeong or annyeonghaseyo, or when you on the phone you're like annyeong. So that's what I really like about Korean language. Is like it's really cute. Like who says annyeong? That's like super cute, which is like I love Korean language. So that's hi or hello or how are you in Korean language, and in Japanese that's こんにちはみたいな、こんばんはとか、なんか全部ひっくるめた感じかな。なんかもしもしでも使うし、How are you? みたいな感じで使うときに使う感じだと思います。안녕하세요。次は Next is これは知らなかった。When you say goodbye, when I say goodbye to somebody, it's 안녕히 가세요. 안녕히 가세요. That's so cute. So this is like the version when I say goodbye. So I guess there's another version later on I'll tell you. But when I'm saying goodbye, it means 안녕히 가세요. That's cute. 가세요, 주세요. Korean language is so cute. So that in Japanese is sayonara. This is goodbye when you're saying you're leaving from that spot. The one that I said earlier is the one that when you're saying it to someone when they're saying goodbye. This goodbye is 안녕히 계세요. So I guess this is so cute. 계세요, 가세요. This could be my Korean language teaching for myself also. Okay, so next. It's take care. お気をつけて. So that in Hangul is 조심히 가세요. 조심히 가세요. So when you say please take care, I guess you say 조심히 가세요.次. Let's see again. Let's meet again. Or when you meet someone again, or when you want to say that, let's meet again. また会いましょう. That in Hangul is とまんなよ or とばよ. So I guess to is again. 会いましょう is まんなよ or ばよ. I think this is different because of the sentence that you use. But for now, what I know is let's see again. また会いましょう in Hangul is とまんなよ. 次、ありがとうございます. That's thank you very much in English. And then, so that's in Hangul is 감사합니다 or 고맙습니다 or just 고마워. So anyways, ありがとうございます is 丁寧語. I mean, that's like using po in Tagalog. So ありがとうございます. Thank you very much in this Korean language is 고맙습니다 or 감사합니다. Next. どういたしまして. That's you're welcome. I think in Tagalog is walang anuman, I think. So anyways, when you say you're welcome in Korean language, it means pure 말씀요. Oh, that's cute. pure 말씀요. 좋았네요. 좋았네요. kawaii. So that's how you say どういたしまして, which is welcome in Korean language. It's pure 말씀요 or 좋았네요. It's so cute. I love the how you say it in Korean language. So anyways, next it's すみません、申し訳ありません / ごめんなさい. That's saying I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. It's first すみません means like I'm sorry, and then 申し訳ありません is more like deeply sorry, and then ごめんなさい is just saying I'm sorry in a casual way. So that's 3 ways of saying I'm sorry, and then in Japanese it's すみません、申し訳ありません and then ごめんなさい. And that in Hangul is 죄송합니다 and 미안합니다. So 죄송합니다 is I think it's the ごめんなさい、申し訳ないです、すみません part. And then the casual ごめんなさい is ミヤミダ. Next, いただきます. Like that's let's eat. There's no correct way of like saying いただきます in English because in English way we just say oh let's eat or like let's all eat or something like that. There's no specific word of いただきます. But then the closest language or the way we use in English is let's eat. So in Japanese, いただきます. English, let's eat. And in Hangul, it's 잘 먹겠습니다. 잘 먹겠습니다. Oh, 잘 먹겠습니다. So that's the 3 ways of saying いただきます. 잘 먹습니다. Let's eat. いただきます. This is fun. Next. ごちそうさまでした. ごちそうさまでした is thank you for the food. So after you eat, always you have to thank for your food or whoever made the food for you. So in Japan we say ごちそうさまでした. English, thank you for the food. And in Korean language, it's 잘 먹었습니다. 잘 먹었습니다. Because 먹어 means eat in Korean language. So I guess this is like thank you for the food or ごちそうさまでした. This is interesting. So in Korean language, you say 잘 먹었습니다. And then in Japanese, ごちそうさまでした. And in English, thank you for the food. That is perfect. Okay, next is 失礼します in Japanese. English, excuse me or please excuse me. And in Hangul, it's 실례합니다. 실례합니다. This is cute also. I mean like the pronunciation. So I guess I think this really depends on how you use it also. But then when you like walk into something or when you want to ask for something, you're like 失礼します blah blah blah. So that's how you use it in Japanese. That's like 失礼します and then please excuse me in English. And in Korean version, it's 失礼합니다. This is cute. Next. おやすみなさい. My alarm. Sorry guys, my alarm has went off. You could all now know that I'm so spoiled because I don't use those bells for my alarm. Anyways, so it's おやすみなさい. So おやすみなさい in Japanese, good night in English, and in Korean language, it's 안녕히 주무세요. 안녕히 주무세요. So that's cute also. I guess I like it when they use something 세요 because it makes it cuter when they say it or like when the girls say it. So I guess so in good night, おやすみなさい in Korean language, it's 안녕히 주무세요. Cute version. So that was the greeting version. I want to do one last paragraph, which would be, let's see, what would be important? This one may be better. It's 自己紹介。自己紹介 in English is when you introduce yourself. So that's pretty important, I think, when you go overseas. You always have to introduce yourself to someone, or when you're asking for like where to go or meeting anyone new, you always have to greet yourself. So let's get started with this version. Okay, first off, はじめまして in Japanese. In English, nice to meet you. And in Korean language, it's 처음 뵙겠습니다. 처음 뵙겠습니다. So I guess that's how you say it when you're telling people nice to meet you. And in Japanese, it's はじめまして. And in Korean language, it's 처음 뵙겠습니다. That's nice. Kind of hard to remember. But anyways, next is お会いできて嬉しいです。お会いできて嬉しいです。And in English, that means it's nice to meet you, it's nice to see you. And then in Korean language, it's 만소나 반갑습니다. 만소나 반갑습니다. This is cute too. 문이다. Anyway, so that's how you tell people you're happy to meet them, or it's like nice to meet them or nice to meet you / the way you say it. So in Japanese, it's お会いできて嬉しいです。English, it's nice to meet you. And then in Korean language, it's 만소나 반갑습니다. Okay, next, let's go. This is nice. This is saying 私はマリアと申します。私は〇〇と申します。When you're trying to tell yourself your name, 自己紹介の時に使うやつですよね。私はマリアと申します。Japanese version. English version. My name is Maria Ozawa. And in Korean language, it's 저는 마리아라고 합니다. So that's the polite way of saying this is me, myself, to introduce to somebody elder than you. Next is 私は日本人です。In Japanese, 私は日本人です。And then in English, it's I am Japanese. And in Korean language, it's 저는 일본 사람입니다. 저는 일본 사람입니다. So I guess that means when you're telling people that you're Japanese, 저는 일본 사람입니다. That's meaning I am Japanese. And then in Japanese, it's 私は日本人です。Okay, so next. It's 日本から来ました。日本から来ました。That in English is I came from Japan. So, I came from Japan. The Korean version of saying that is 일본에서 왔습니다. 일본에서 왔습니다. So that means I came from Japan. 日本から来ました。Next. This is when you say 満35歳です。English, this is when you tell your age to people. I'm 35 years old. And then in Korean language, it's 만 35 살입니다. So this is very surprising because in Japan, we say like 만 is like this way of saying very super polite way when you write down in like papers or any kind of like draft what your age is. We write 만 30살, 40살 or whatever. So but in Korean language, they use the same way also. So this is very surprising. So I guess we have the same way of introducing our age. So in Japan, it's 만 35歳です. English, I am 35 years old. And in Korean language, it's 만 35 살입니다. Okay, next. 何々年生まれです. That's when you were born. So 日本語だと1986年生まれです. English, I am born in 1986. And in Korean language, it's 1986 4000입니다. So I guess that's year or 生まれです in Korean language. In Japanese, it's 1986年生まれです。In English, it's I was born in 1986. And in Korean language, it's 1986 4000입니다. Okay. Next, this version is very important because I got mixed up when I first started to watch Korean movies. So in Japanese, it's 韓国の年で〇〇歳です。English, my Korean age is 〇〇. And then in Korean, no, that was English. That in Korean, it's 半軍内の寒いだ. So this is very complicated when I first started to kind of learn Korean language because like Chinese, they are already first 1 year old from the day they're born. So literally the age is 1 year different from the other Japanese or other countries' way of calculating. So when we talk to each other, I'm like, okay, I'm 35. Somebody will be like, I'm 35, but in Korean age, I'm 36 or I'm 34 or 33. So there's always a year gap, and I was like, why is that? And then they kind of explain it. So I was like, it's the Chinese way because they have their own rituals, and that's the same. So that you would say, 韓国の年で35歳です. And then in English, my Korean age is 35 years old. And then Korean. In Japanese, you say, 韓国の年では35歳です. And in English, you say, my Korean age is 35 years old. And then in Hangul, you would say, 半軍内の35歳だ. So that's how you say your Korean age. Next is 〇〇に住んでいます. That's in English, I live in ... So in Korean language, it's ... 에서 살고 있어요. So on the ... for me, it would be Shinjuku. So in Japanese version, I'll be 신주쿠に住んでます. And then in English, I live in Shinjuku. And in Korean language, it's 신주쿠에서 살고 있어요. So what I noticed is it's the same way of saying it in Japanese way or Korean way because you just say it from that phrase. But English, you have to there's a vice versa way of saying because how you start the sentence is different. But anyways, that's how you say where I live. Next is 私は会社員、学生、主婦です. That in English is when you're introducing yourself. So this is when you're saying either I am office worker, or I am a student, or I am a household. So there's 3 ways of saying it. I am a this way, or the other way. So in Japanese is 私は会社員、学生、主婦ですの3パターンをハングルバージョンで言うと저는 회사원 학생 or 주부입니다. 입니다 is thisよとか I am or something like that when you say or when you end the sentence. So I guess 会社員 office worker is 회사원. And then student 学生 is 학생. And then 主婦 housewife is 主婦. So if you are in one of those 3 categories, you could say I am either 회사원, 학생, or 주부, and then add 입니다 at the end. So that's how you say it either way of the 3 patterns if you want to introduce yourself to someone else. Next. 〇〇が好きです. I like ... And then Hangul version, it's ... 르르 좋아합니다. So in this pattern, for example, 〇〇が好きです。Well, I'm not sure I can't, that's hard. So just let's say it in dot dot. So for example, in Japanese it says 〇〇が好きです. And in the English version, I like dot dot. And then in Korean version, it's dot dot uru uru 좋아합니다. So that's how you say I like something. Next is 趣味. 趣味は〇〇です. That in English is my hobby is dot dot. And then in Hangul version, that will be 취미는 dot dot 입니다. So I guess this is the same pattern or way of saying in Japanese. Japanese is 私の趣味は〇〇です. But then in English, you put the 〇〇 first. My hobby is 〇〇. And then, dot dot. And then in Korean version, it's 취미는 dot dot 입니다. So that's how you tell what your hobby is to someone else. Okay, so next, it'll be よろしくお願いします. That's in Japanese. よろしくお願いします. And then in English version, I don't think there's a quite direct way of saying this in English, but then the closest thing that I can think of right now is can you please dot dot. Like when you're trying to ask some favor for someone else, you could say can you please, and that would be よろしくお願いします in Japanese. And then in Hangul, it will be 잘 부탁합니다. 잘 부탁합니다. That's very cute. So, よろしくお願いします. Can you please do this for me or someone else? And in Korean language, it's 잘 부탁합니다. That's so cute. So anyways, that was the Korean language that I picked up that would be most important Hangul that you could learn when you go to Korea or when you speak with Korean people, or maybe you could just learn from picking up these small words and then try to put it in a sentence. So I hope I helped you guys a little bit, or whoever you guys are, if you're into K-dramas and thinking, oh, what's this word, or you want to learn more, I hope I kind of helped you out, because this really helped me out by reading it to you guys and explaining into Japanese and English. It really kind of made me oh, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. So that's kind of fun, and I hope you guys thought also. And please please write it down in the comment below and let me know any suggestions you would want me to say more about Korean language or any other language that you want to learn from me. Because the last time when I did the Japanese learning version, that was really nice. Everybody loved it. So I hope you guys love this Korean version also. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching till the end. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this page so everybody can see our journey together. Bye.